So what Maximus is, it's basically a limiter slash compressor or multi-band compressor, because you have these different bands of low, mid, and high. If you watched my video on multi-band compression using the Fruity multi-band compressor, you know what a multi-band is. If you didn't, you can go check that video out. I'll put a card up here to where you can go watch that. But that's what it basically does. It can basically allow you to control these three bands in your track, which is the low, mids, and the highs. Here on the low, that's where you can work on your bass, and your mid is your mids, and your high is more of your treble side, and your master is how you control your whole track all together. And you can actually solo all these bands so that you can listen to them on their own if in case you want to do some fine tuning and some nice carving like that. So if you want to make your track just louder without doing anything, you can easily do that just by raising the pre-gain basically. So I'm just going to raise the pre-gain. So you can see that right there, it's I started to make the track louder, and you can see that the gain reduction that is happening over here by these spikes that are pointing down, the white spikes, everything that is on this, that is going past this blue line, is being cut off by this limiter, which is what it's supposed to do, to actually limit. So it's limiting everything that's going over 0, which is where we want to be. But it's not that easy. You just don't want all your transients and all your sound to be limited this way, because you start to lose the dynamics of the sound. Otherwise, also tutorial over and I'll be done explaining. You just have to raise one switch and that's it. But that's not the whole point of doing this. That's actually kind of a destructive way of doing this. You don't want to actually just raise it without actually knowing what you're doing basically. So if we go back and just play this track back again, just bring it back again. I'll just reset that. So what we want to do first and foremost is just make this track louder so that it hits 0, right? So I could just raise and make sure my peaks are kind of slightly hitting that 0. So I know that this is my kick, the one that's being compressed the most, the one that's being that's getting the gain reduction happening in here. That's my kick, because I know my kick is the loudest. So what I could do is I could go back into my my track and just drop my kick back down if I want to. Now you can see that nothing is happening, and then I can raise it again. But then I do want my kick to kind of be more present and be more powerful, right? So I'm just going to raise my kick back up again. So I do want some of that transient to kind of be cut off, but that's just how you can make a track loud and easy. But the next thing I want to go through is that this is a compressor as well, so you can use this to compress the sound. And by limiting is basically a compression method that is more aggressive, and you can control. You have your attack and your release and your sustain that you can use to control the type of compression that you're adding into your master channel. So when you come here to the low, one thing that I like to do is I like to also play around with the stereo separation. This is something that also brings out clarity in your track and kind of carves out the stereo image of your track. Now what you want to do is that in the low, like if I can just solo my low end, sometimes some of these plugins, if you use some bass plugins, they come with kind of bass sounds or synths that are have bass signals, and they will be kind of in stereo mode. So when you have them in stereo, they are okay, but you can try and maybe merge them and turn them into mono like that, and just so that you can make sure that all the low end frequencies are monofied or are in mono, and you can actually choose exactly which band is you're affecting by doing this, or which bands are selected, or which frequencies are selected by coming here to the lows. So you can see here I have an EQ. I'm just going to go to bands and I can choose. So I'm just going to pick maybe up until 100. There we go. And I'm just gonna merge maybe 60%, just so that my bass sounds are not too stereo-y and doing stuff like that. And then that is fine. And then I can even raise the pre-gain to make just only the bass louder. So you can see it's only the bass that I'm raising right now. I can do that, and then I can go to my mid section, and then the mid is this orange section over here. So that's what I have left. So unfortunately I cannot just control or select the mids only, but they're already selected by me selecting my bass and my highs as well, but we haven't gone to the highs, so that's already selected. And the mids are fine, but if I want to add a little bit of stereo separation, I can add just a little bit. Maybe just separate like 40% separated, just to give them a little bit of wideness in the middle, or I can just merge if I want and make it more mono-fied, if that's a word. But I usually like to keep my mid-range as is, in case you have vocals in there, because in the mid-range, that's where you do a lot of panning in terms of sounds and drums and stuff like that. So you can add a little bit of a stereo widening if you want to, and just add a little bit of separation. And then if you want to add a little bit of volume there, you can also add some of the pre-gain and just add it there. And always remember that the pre and the post, the pre-gain is the volume you add before the Maximus has added on, you know, everything that is doing the compression, and the post is the volume after the signal is being processed. So I rarely touch the post because you're only adding volume after that. So if you're gonna add still another limiter after Maximus, then you can definitely touch the post switch. But if you know that this is your last plugin or your last limiter, then don't touch the post switch. Just keep it on 0 so that it limits everything to that 0 level. So when we get to the highs, we can also solo those. I can actually make these as wide as I want, because you know it's high sounds. Then I could just choose exactly which frequencies I want to be selected here. And if you want them louder, you can raise that. Here we go. So that's how the track sounds all together. But let me just drop down my pre-gain. Remember, it was loud. That's how my track is sounding. So this is off, this is off, and this is on. So I added some energy, you know, into the mix, into the track already, just by doing this, this simple thing. So I'm gonna re-engage the compressor here on the master and switch it back on. And now the track already has energy without me just cranking the volume, the pre-gain on its own. And also by selecting exactly which frequencies that I want to boost and which frequencies that I want to, to kind of make, lower a little bit. And you also have a low cut in case you want to maybe add a low cut, just kill some of that that low end rumble. Matter of fact, if you want to design your track to be like that, but you can remember, you can also use this plugin to also design your sound. So in case you're working on maybe a sound that you don't want to have so much low end, you can also cut the low end by using this low cut here. So you only cut up until 80 hertz. And then you can do that, and then you're good to go. You also have some saturation that you can add also to your track, just to add a little bit of texture. And remember, saturation is adding distortion. You can do this if you want to add a little bit of texture to the signal, if maybe using Maximus on vocals or drums or another sound, or even your master mix, if you want to add a little bit of saturation to distort sounds a little bit, you can add the saturation. But I rarely add saturation to my master because I don't want to, you know, kind of give that that dirty, grungy vibe to my tracks. I want them to be clean. But that's basically how you use Maximus. Maximus is pretty powerful. Then you can just try and make it as loud as you can. And try not to get the signal too overly compressed. There we go. So you can see down here is every other instruments that's not my drums. Up here are my drums, and that's the instruments, or that's the elements in my track that have the most peaks. So that's the ones you're trying to control. So you're just trying to use this sparingly, just to give a little bit of energy and a little bit of loudness to your track. You're not trying to over compress or over crush the whole track just for the sake of making it loud. But this is the way that you can actually add some energy and add some loudness to your track by using Maximus. Yeah, if you guys want a more in-depth tutorial, like a more advanced tutorial on Maximus, and if you have any other questions, you know, about things that I didn't cover in this video, drop them down below in the comments below. I can do another video and answer those questions as well, but I thought I'd give you an overview on how you can use Maximus to master your track, and you can, you know, use it to control your master and get a really nice track, you know, full of energy, without having to worry about, you know, having all these other mastering VSTs added onto your FL Studio. If you like this video, drop me a like down below, and remember, the only way you can continue to see my videos is through a subscription. So remember to subscribe if you're new here. I really appreciate all you guys that support my channel. Thank you guys so much, and thanks to everybody that's also a member of my channel. You can become a member of my channel by clicking the join button below. But I will see you guys in my next video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I am X, and I'm out. Peace.